chapter, but I don't see it right now. Most High ain't allowing me to see it right now. So I get the Zandervan Compact Bible Dictionary and show you, right, the history on it a little bit. Let me see. See if I can find it here. This on this in Zandervan. This on page 207 in the Zandervan Compact Bible Dictionary. It says Greece, Grecia, Grecian, Grecia, Greece. Grecia is Greece, the home of the Hellenist Greeks and Grecians. However, are to be distinguished. Greeks are generally those of Hellenic race, right? It says Grecian were Greek-speaking Jews, folk of the diasporation from the areas predominantly Greek. So that's telling you right there, Grecian were Greek-speaking Jews. Now we're gonna go to the word. Let me show you that in the Zandervan. Let me put that up there so you can see. Right there it is. Oh, let me see if it's up there. There it is, right there.
The second, please.
Oh, you see? That was Issachar didn't know what he was talking about. I think he learned. You see, let me go to the word, all right. Hellenist, well, I'll just read this. This on page, this on page 223. Hellenists, Jews who made Greek their tongue and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. And they give you a scripture, Acts 6:1 and Acts 9:29, right? And then you got the word Hellen, which that's an Israelite, right? Who don't even know that he's an Israelite. He completely gone. Okay? And that's what you got there when you read there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek. Sometimes you might have Hellenist or you might have Hellenists there. You see, that's for me to be safe because I can't remember exactly which one there. But that's why I'm saying both of them. And then you got, when you look at the word Gentile, you got the word ethnos there, which is go back to ethnicity, which is the common culture. Okay? When you see the word ethnos, that's talking about the Israelite. Okay? Just so you know. That's why it says, and it said this Romans 10:20, and this Romans 10:20, but Isaiah is very bold, which is Isaiah, and saith, I have found of them that sought me not, and I was manifest unto them that asked not after me. But to Israel he saith, all the day long have I stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and a gainsaying people, man. That's pursuing, that's where he quoting this from, is Isaiah 6:65-1, man. That's where he quoting it from. Because our people don't listen, man. They hard-headed, man. You see? They hard-headed. Oh, this where it's at. This Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between a Jew and a Greek. Them Israelites. Okay? That's talking about an Israelite. But our people truly don't know the history of what happened to Israel in the scripture. They don't know the history. That's why I asked about the Hasmonean Empire. Because if you ever Google that, you will see that the history on the Hasmonean Empire, how Israel forsake their heritage and start taking on the custom of the Greeks. So that's why it's saying in the New Testament, there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek, because they both Israelites. But you got an Israelite that take on the custom of the other nation, and therefore he became a Greek. That's why when you read an Apocrypha, it go into detail. But for the ones who don't got it, that's why I mentioned the Hasmonean Empire. You type that into Google, you'll read it, you'll see it. It'll tell you. This Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between a Jew and a Greek, for all the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. You see, that's talking about Israelites. That ain't talking about everybody, man. But see, these people don't understand. Our people, they read the scriptures, but they don't understand the scriptures. And then they try to come up with a subtle way of engaging you. But we can see right through them that they error not knowing the scriptures. But I got to try the spirit by the spirit. He say it was Issachar, but I got to see. Man. He could be Issachar, but right now here at 2:30 he's gonna be destroyed, man. You know, right now the Heavenly Father don't even recognize him as Issachar because he want to embrace everybody. That's why the Heavenly Father gonna treat him like a heathen and destroy him, just like he gonna do the so-called white man. They gonna have to suffer the same fate, man. But let me go to Matthew's. Was it Matthew's 15? Or was it John 15 and 4? Matthew's 15. Yeah, Matthew's 15 and 24. He said, what did the Lord say? Oh, I'm finna show you what the Lord said. This is Matthew 15 and 24. And he answered me and said, this in the red. He said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's it, man. That's in Matthew 15 and 4 in the New Testament. You see? And then when I asked him about because the Testament is a covenant, how you say it in the Hebrew is Bariyath Kadasha, meaning covenant new. That's how you say it in the Hebrew. Bariyath Kadasha. That's the New Testament, meaning covenant new. So that's how you say it in the Hebrew. And the only covenant, the covenant was given to the nation of Israel, no other nation, man. See, that's that Roman Catholic madness that they teach the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, that them conquistadors brought over here, and the so-called white man brought over here to bamboozle our people and put up this picture, Caesar Borgia, the second son of Alexander's Pope since in Rome. And they got a history on him. They got the records on him right there. The whole history on Caesar Borgia. But our people think the Lord looked like this. You see? They don't know, man. They blind as bats, man. That's why they gonna be destroyed for worshiping that idol, man, and worshiping the so-called white man. And then when I asked him what's the white man nationality, according to the Bible, he can't tell me, man. He can't tell me. You see? But back to what I was talking about. Well, I can go into the Greek Empire. This second Maccabees to prove that Israel took on the customs of the other nation. Then that's where you get the Greeks from. Them Greeks from, which were Israelites. This is I'm gonna jump around. This second Maccabees, this first Maccabees, the first chapter. First Maccabees, the first chapter, now I started the first verse. And it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, and smitten Darius, the king of Persia. That's Daniel the 7th chapter. So the Bible is a history book, man. It's history book and prophecies and the law. See, this first Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, who had smitten Darius, the king of Persia, and the Medes that reigned in his stead, first over Greece. So that's when the so-called white man first came into power, because first you had the Babylonians, which are the Ethiopians, right? You know them as Ethiopians, but in the Bible they're known as Cushites. Then you had the Persians, which are the Iranians today. They changed their name Persia in 1935. Then you had the Medes first. Sorry, you had the Medes first, and then you had Persia. But the Medes are the Japhetic people, which are the Hawaiian, Samoans, and the Tonganese, right? And then after that, you had the Greek Empire. And I'm reading about Alexander when he finna go against Darius, the king of Persia, right? And he made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the king of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth, went through the end of the earth and took spoils of many nations. So that's the so-called white man, first kingdom rulership up under the Greeks, which it was set forth by Alexander. So much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and he lifted up his, and he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations, and the kings who became tributaries, everybody was paying taxes to him, you see, unto him. And after this thing, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Because one thing, Alexander, when you go into the history, you can Google sodomite mind control, and it might take you straight to it. It might take you straight to it about how Alexander and all the ruling class people was flaming faggots, just like you got in America. You see? Whosoever he shall, wherefore he shall call his servants such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and pardon his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Because you had Seleucus, you had Cassander, Lysimachus, you had Seleucus, Cassander, Lysimachus, and Ptolemy. Those were the 4 generals that was up under Alexander, okay? So Alexander reigned 12 years and died, and his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. And so did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. So they did all sorts of wickedness and all type of abomination. And mainly coming out to the children of Israel. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, we were the 3 tribes that were left over there. The so-called African Americans, the so-called Jamaicans, and the so-called Haitians. What do you think we were before we went into, came into this transatlantic slave trade? Before we fled into Africa in 79 AD, what do you think we were? We was in Jerusalem. That's what we was. We fled into Africa 79 AD, and here you go. We over in America today. Both of the slaves came out of the north and northern parts of Africa and southern parts of Africa down there in Angola, which we was all scattered, but mainly the northwest coast of Africa. A lot of the slaves came over in 1620, the one that survived. But the first slaves came out of Spain in 1500, somewhere around there. So the first slaves came out of Spain in the 1500s that were brought to South America. And the first ones that got hit with that hardcore slavery was the Puerto Ricans, the North American Indians, the so-called Mexicans. They were the first one to get hit with that hard slavery, man, because they was practicing all those tactics on Northern Kingdom, which is Ephraim and the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Brazilians, the Panamanians, those people like that. They were practicing, which they were the 12 tribes of Israel. They was practicing harsh bondage slavery on them, and mainly the Mexicans. Because another thing about the Issachar, they were sending dogs on Issachar, Spanish massacres, Spanish masters on Issachar, and those Spanish masters about the size of a donkey, man.
Right.
If you Google a Spanish massacre, Google image of Spanish massacre, they were sending more than one on the men of the so-called Mexicans, which are Issachar, and they were ripping them apart, man. Spanish massacre was about the size of a fucking donkey, man. You see? So they were practicing all them tactics on them before they got the so-called Negroes, you see, from Africa. You see? They were practicing on them first. You see? And really, when you go deep into it, the transatlantic slave trade didn't start with the so-called Negroes. It started with the natives and Hispanics. That's where it started with, because Christopher Columbus, we know him as Christopher Columbus, he was a so-called Jew, and what he did, and the so-called Jews funded the transatlantic slave trade. The people over there in Israel, the gutter rats, you see, they funded the transatlantic slave trade. The Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Getty, the Warburgs, and the Oppenheimer, they funded that. So when Christopher Columbus took some of the tribes back over there to Spain,